In this video, I'm going to show you how to get MikroTik Dude Client running on macOS Catalina and newer. The Dude Client is a 32-bit application, and Catalina only supports 64-bit. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is create a temporary working directory. And I'm going to go into that directory. So we got to download quite a few things. I'm going to place them in here, and then when we're done, we can just remove the whole directory and clean everything up. So the first thing we need is the Wine version we're running requires Xquartz. Make sure you spell that right. It's xqtz.org. And I'm just going to copy this link. I'm going to grab everything with curl, just so that that's the easiest way for me to put it in the directory. So we got curl, O to output with the same file name, L to follow links. That's not necessary on some, but it's best practice to include it, because if you don't and the link redirects, then you'll just download a blank file. So you can see this redirected. That was the redirect, and then we got the actual file. If we didn't have the L, we wouldn't have got the actual file. Some of these, like the Nearsoft that we'll do later for the icon, doesn't require the L, but it doesn't hurt to put it. Now we're going to get the version of Wine. We're going to be using Wineskin Winery, and you can get that from GitHub. I'm going to come down. So after the first block of text, we got assets. And the version that I know that works is the CX64 21.2. And that is April 27, 2002. There could be some newer versions that work, but for me, I already know this one works, so I'm going to grab this. So you can see that also had a redirect. Okay, we need to get the Dude installer itself. Let's scroll down. We're going to get the latest version. This version is going to be 7.8. And you can see that this curl did differently, so this one did not redirect. So technically, we could have omitted the -L. Alright, this is optional for the icon file, but it is nice to have. It is the hardest part. A lot of people can get stuck on this, but it's not too bad if you follow directions. Or you can get the 32-bit or the 64-bit just to reiterate that this is running 32-bit software. I'm going to grab the 32-bit, but either one will work. You can see that one also did not have a redirect. I'm going to grab some stuff off my GitHub. going to go into the dude. We're going to grab this info.plist. I'm just going to manually create it with VI. You got a capital I, everything else is lowercase. In VI you hit I for insert, it takes you into insert mode. And paste everything. So we can look at this file. It's going to say the name of the executable name. Just have some things in here like version. It's kind of like properties. If you right click on a Windows binary and you see properties. And the most important part of this file is specifying where we're going to find the icon file. So to get out, you would hit escape, WQ for right quit, and press enter. Or the next one we'll need is the bash script that actually executes. So you can see this is a bash script. You may need to pay attention to this. Sometimes Wine will install it into the 64-bit directory, program files, omitting the x86, and sometimes it will install it into the 32-bit. So you need to watch this. You may have to take that out or add it in. So now that we have everything we need, we can go ahead and start installing. First thing I'm going to do is install Xquartz. Just follow the prompts. It doesn't take too long to install, maybe a minute or two. So the next thing we're going to do is extract our wine. Alright, that's done. We're going to go into the directory it just created. So we can see it created this directory. It's a directory. And this is our wine. You can see our binary directory, lib. So this is what's important, is we need this lib32 on 64. And inside the bin directory, we have wine 32 on 64. On other versions of wine, you may only see the wine, or you may only see the wine 64, or you may see wine plus wine 64. But we're looking for these to have the correct compatible version of wine. There's another thing I need to show you with wine. Is we have Gecko right here. Sometimes we might have Mono. So these are two optional features of Wine. Gecko is Internet Explorer, and Mono is the .NET implementation. So for Dude, we don't need either. So what I'm going to do is remove it. So you can see Gecko is 115 megs, and the total right now for wine is 466 megs. So if we remove Gecko with the remove recursive and do the same thing, we saved 115 megs. We're now at 351 megs. So now I'm going to place wine in the correct position on our Mac. We need to do this with sudo. We're going to make directory and user system resources local and wine. Now you may notice that we have bin, lib, share, and see we already had that structure, but making a directory for wine itself just makes it much easier to remove, upgrade, reinstall when you have problems or you need to change it, test things out. So I like to place it in the directory by itself instead of dropping it in and making it harder. So we're going to move everything. We need to do this with sudo. And we're going to place it into the folder we just created. So now we've got wine installed. We can run the dude installer. So we're going to use that wine 32 on 64, and we're going to tell it which Windows binary to execute. So the first thing it's going to do is create our profile, and that's going to go inside of our user directory and then our hidden wine profile. So this is mono, this is the .NET. We don't need that, so we can do cancel. It only has to create this the first time because it didn't exist. Don't need the shortcuts. It only saves a few KB, but it doesn't really matter. So this is where I was talking about earlier. We need to pay attention to this. The correct thing is for it to be in x86 since it's a 32-bit application, but it really doesn't matter if this is missing. It'll still work. You might just have to edit the file path from earlier. So we're installed now. So dude will actually run inside of our home directory. This is our wine profile. You can see that this is our Windows registry and our C drive. And you can see this is a Windows 7 template. So we got our users folder, program data, Windows, our two program files folders. So we can just run dude straight from the command prompt. And if you're fine with that, you're technically done. However, I think most people's going to like to have the shortcut. So we're going to continue on. So to create a Macintosh shortcut, we need to make a directory structure for it. So we need to create dude.app, contents, macOS, we need to do P for parent. This means that we won't run into an error trying to create this folder inside of folders that don't already exist. It'll create it all the way through. And we also need a resources folder, and that will also go into contents. So we need to place that info.plist that we got earlier into contents. And we need to place the dude bash script into the macOS. We need to give it execute permissions. And now we have a shortcut that runs. However, as you can see, we don't have an icon. It's just a blank icon. To get the icon, I'm going to copy over the dude executable because it's just easier to grab. Here than through the line structure. Gonna unzip. The resources extract.zip. We're going to use wine to execute this resources extract. The only thing we need is icon, and we can select our dude. You can see that it's got the icon. That's what we'll be extracting. Hit start, and just that simple flash, it's already done. So you can see our icon file that came out of it. We need to open that with preview, and we're going to go to tools, adjust size. We're going to change this to pixels, and we're going to change this to 128. This should already be locked so that these are the same. So we want to maintain aspect ratio. And we're going to export it as a PNG, and we're going to rename it. It's going to be icon underscore 128 by 128 dot PNG, and we're going to keep the alpha, and we're going to save it into the directory that we're working in. We can discard this because it's asking, this is the original file, so we don't really care about that. So you can see our new icon. Now we need to convert it, so we need to make a new directory, capital I, and then icon set. We're going to place that icon in that folder we just created. And then we're going to run the icon util. Tell it what type icons in the directory. And now we're going to place you can see the icon it created. We need to place that inside of our Dude app. And this is going to go into resources. And finally, we're going to move our Dude app into our applications directory. So you can see we got quite a lot of things that we don't need anymore, which is 246 megs. We're going to go out of this directory. We're going to remove with recursive our temporary build directory. Now we've regained that space. Alright, now we got our Dude. It's in our applications. You can tell it to keep it in the dock. And there's our 32-bit MikroTik Dude Windows application running on macOS Catalina. Thanks for watching.